Hello and welcome to Wolf Lily Lodge. Please have a seat, relax, and enjoy the reading of the night. I'm Lycania Moonclaw, your hostess for the evening. Today I'll be reading King's Files from Tower of Fantasy. Simulacra Introduction. Out of all those stupid enough to saddle themselves with Banja's Business Association's high interest rates, King is the most unique case. Usually, anyone unable to afford payment gets sent to work in the mines, but he never got such treatment. It's not that the association didn't want to, but even if they did post big bounties and spare no arms or efforts, they still couldn't touch him. As a merc famous for his combat prowess, King is touted as the personification of violence. He's been fighting since childhood and is a veteran brawler specializing in one against many. He would get lucrative pays for each job, only to supposedly blow it all immediately. File 1. Simulacra Unlock Log. For the owner of this simulacrum, we'd like to say, King is very different from other simulacra. We've wanted to add this famous mercenary to our database since the beginning, but he didn't cross paths with Hycros, and we had no way of contacting him, since that required connections that we didn't have. After much string pulling, we managed to contact him through an engineer we worked with, and finally got a chance to negotiate. Or rather strike a deal with him. He didn't want anything that Hycros provided: long-term benefits, point of contact, further services, proof of friendship. None whatsoever. He wanted cash, and that was non-negotiable. So we paid him a handsome amount for us to take his data for the simulacrum. This amount still sticks out like a sore thumb in our accounting records. Please note that we think King is purely motivated by money, and this is completely reflected in the AI of the simulacrum. Please don't think that he would help just because your interests aligned. Without money, it's difficult to make him do anything. Strange, isn't it? He pretty much wins every fight he's involved in, but you'll find that he doesn't always enter battles willingly. Why is that? Is it because battles don't have the same fun and sense of accomplishment? Or is it because he measures everything with money and not those intangible emotions? Signed, Hycros Simulacrum Research Department. File 2. Eventful deal. What's it like to live in crown mines where the sun doesn't shine? There aren't many ways to find out, because not many people have been able to leave that life. King did, and he was famous for it. But you only need to take a look at him to find out that if you want to interview him, you better offer him a lot of money. Based on research, this boy named King didn't have a name at first, and no one knew who his parents were. He grew up in the mines and started at the bottom, and his future had already been decided. He would become another cog in the machine that was the mine. So what derailed this little mine cart? No one knew exactly what happened. Maybe it was an argument, a fight, or just a random rebellious moment. Before he realized it, he had already been involved in the gangs there and was being trained as a fighter. As he grew older in such an environment, he picked up all the bad things about it, especially a bad habit that spread like the plague in the mines. We could have predicted how it would end for him. But he proved that he was able to get out of it all, however unreasonable his getaway was. File 3. Equal Contract. A secret note circulating among the hosts of underground arenas. King with photos, personal information, and results. I think you all know who this is, so I'll just get right to the point. I hope we can work together to create an environment where he simply can't compete anymore. I'm sure you know why. He's always winning. This spells trouble for us because the odds of the matches that he's in look really bad, and there are never any surprises. Those who place bets don't win a lot of money and lose interest. That means our cut gets smaller in the long run. We tried to bribe him into losing a match now and then, but he didn't know how to control his powers, and well, I'll leave it at that. We need to create some rules against him, like some sort of trap, and then we can ban him when he violates that rule. Then we create a shared blacklist and ban him from all of our matches forever. We need to make sure we're all on the same page so that he doesn't think it's one of us picking on him. But you can't get on his bad side. Refer him to some other jobs if you can. You want to keep your business running, right? Then be nice to him on the surface. This concerns our collective interest, so let's put aside our differences for now. You are all wise decision makers, so let's give this idea some thought. Oh, and please keep this note within this group only. File 4. A bet. Anyone with half a brain knows that borrowing money from the Banjas Chamber of Commerce is the first step toward indentured servitude. Only 2 types of people do that. Idiots that think they can make the payments on time, spoiler alert. They can't. And gambling addicts that hoped for one last lucky hand to turn everything around, spoiler again. That hand will never come. They both end up in the mines for the rest of their lives. And there's King. He didn't know this was a dead end when he borrowed the money, but once he did, he handled it in the only way he could, never returning any. Some say that when combined with interests, he owes the Chamber of Commerce an astronomical sum. The debt collectors never managed to get any money from him, but they were beaten senseless every single time. They thought he had gang connections at first, but after further investigation, they had to admit that he had no such connections. The results were very vague. There is nothing on him, and this is all we have. History that cannot be fact-checked. Past that has been buried. A future without certainty. The only thing they have is the present, but they don't even know how the name King came about. Maybe people called him that because of how he forced his way to the top in the mines, or how he managed to stay at the top of the arena. An exaggerated word that means high standing and implies that he owns a lot of things is, in fact, not a bad choice. But something just doesn't sit right. These are all the character files for King I have for you today. Please have a nice day, and remember, you're always welcome at Wolf Lily Lodge.